Friday weekend is almost here. Welcome to SportsCage. Thanks for making time. However, you're taking in the program today. There you see the aerial view. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, you see Colson sitting there. He's on the other side of the board, over in that chair in a bit, hoping to have Greg from the Piffles podcast. Got a show for you today. Jeremy O'Day speaks to the media. We'll hear what Jeremy had to say on this Friday edition of The Cage for Nelson Holmes. Farhan Lalji going to join us. Let's talk Bill Belichick with him. Let's talk some NFL. Let's talk CFL, tampering, negotiation, call it what you want, window. Steph Schmidt is her name. She's from Regina. She designed the curling uniforms for the teams going over to Italy. We'll talk to her. Some very interesting stories, I'm sure. She's designed a number of curling unis over the years. Hour 2, Eric Francis, NHL Insider, Off the Rails with Eric on a Friday. We're going to hear from a Saskatchewan hockey player that played in the Olympic arena last week in the test events. We'll hear about that. More from Jeremy O'Day. Hour number 3, exclusive interview I had a couple of evenings ago with Rachel Homan. She gets set for her team to head over to Italy to represent Canada, try and bring home the gold medal in women's curling. Like I said, for Nelson Holmes, you're always welcome to participate. Chirp. Do whatever you want. Send it in. 15 words or less, if possible. The Prairieland Rentals text line, 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals, located at 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner, whatever you need when you're thinking you need a tool for that project. They probably have it over there at Prairieland Rentals. And then all of our guests are going to join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza, Friday night for us, lasagna again, because we got hockey players and all that. But you can get the pizza, the Greek favorites, the lasagnas, the ribs, the burgers. I'm hungry, you're hungry. It's Western Pizza. Western Pizza guest hotline will be buzzing today. Okay, let's start. Riders with a signing. Doo-doo. Breaking news. Riders have extended core member of the secondary, DeMarcus Fields. American defensive back. He's spent the last 2 seasons since joining the Riders in 2024. Fields, he's played in 36 regular season games, including 18 games and 2 postseason appearances as a CFL rookie in 2024. He posted a career high in 2025 with defensive tackles with 57, special teams tackles with 11 and 2 interceptions. So DeMarcus Fields is back with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But like I said, Jeremy O'Day had media availability today during his travels down in the States. We had a chance to ask him a number of questions. And what's the question that's most important to you out there, SportsCage listeners, that you've been texting in? What's up with the AJs? Well, he did talk about it. In this one, he talks about AJ Allen and CJ Revis's negotiation status.
Nothing to report on either one of those guys right now. Again, as I said before, we'd love to have all the team back. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make decisions on who we can bring back, who we can offer, and who we can't. And it's no fault of the team or the players. Sometimes players understand their window to play football is limited, so they want to get as much money as they can. And there's other players that are more comfortable with staying and in some cases taking a similar contract or less. But that really hasn't happened very much in our negotiations. Most of our guys are looking for increased salaries, which I understand. We had a successful year, and they want to capitalize on that as well.
So in that clip, and there was a couple other ones when he was on the Zoom this morning, I got the sense, I think if any of you are on the meeting as well, you would have got the sense. He said, don't expect the full team back. It's hard to bring back the full team. So I think he's softening the blow on a lot of things. Going to talk to Farhan Lalji about this in about 7 minutes time. See what he's heard, what his take on things are. One thing I got to ask Jeremy O'Day, just because I've been curious about it. We've talked about it, and some of the hard CFL guys that we get on know way more than me. Way more than me. Probably than you. And then you find out, it sounds like there aren't a lot of agents in the CFL. You maybe got I don't know, what is it, 4 or 5 guys with the bulk of the players? Good gig, good gamut for those guys to lock in all those guys. You kind of one of the only games, one of the only shops in town. Perfect, Monopoly style. Good for you. But I've always thought, because I've covered hockey more in my younger days, professional and junior and guys moving up, a lot of agents, big agencies, big groups, states, Canada, Saskatchewan, Toronto, Los Angeles, all over. And in the CFL, you kind of think, if you're like me, you're like, well, if you only got 4 or 5 that have the majority, is that a good thing, or is that a bit of a detriment? So I asked Jeremy about that.
Yeah, great question. When you say there's not a lot of agents, there's a couple agents that have a lot of players, but there still is a lot of agents. But there's a select few of them that have a big number of players in our league. So can kind of play both ways. Again, very good question, because sometimes when an agent represents so many players, they have some players in the same exact position. And so it's a little bit tricky. If the negotiation isn't going well with him on one of the players, well, then he has another 5 players in the same position that he's like, well, what about this player? Would there be interest down the road in this player? So, and then they also, I think what the value is they're very well in tune to the market, and they can give you an indication of kind of what's happening, and kind of what where they're going to fall. And so you get some openness there with those guys. But yeah, there's a select few of them you deal with more than others, and then there's a group of agents that only have a couple guys in our league that you deal with less. But there's still quite a few agents that you deal with. But again, some of the agents have 5, 6, 10, 12 of your guys, so you deal with them a little bit more.
The Gooch texting in. He's on the ball today. He says, get an agent on the show, perhaps. You don't think I've tried that? Come on. Of course I have. No replies. Probably don't want to talk, but I want to talk to a few NHL guys on the podcast and stuff. Really cool insight. We've had a couple of hockey guys on here too. Football. Maybe when Greg comes later. Greg seems to be in the know. Greg can get down to the nitty gritty. He knows a couple agents, I think. He's broken bread with a couple of the agents. So we got more from Jeremy O'Day coming up in a bit. Let's go to break here. When we come back, Farhan Lalji is waiting. Let's talk NFL. Let's talk Belichick. Let's talk CFL. Let's talk tampering window. Maybe a little bit on the Canucks. It's the Sports Cage on Friday for Nelson Holmes. Hope you're having a great day out there. We will be right back with Farhan. Okay, Farhan Lalji, I'm a little bit rushed here, but we got things rolling along. We're a week away from Super Bowl.
Take a breath. Take off that ugly hoodie.
Bill Belichick, let's start there. The Hall of Fame snub, if you want. As a guy that I'm sure you get to vote on certain things, probably Hall of Fames and important awards. Your take on it, Farhan?
Well, look, I think that it's a weird process. So first of all, should Bill Belichick be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes. Not going to say I mind that he's squirming and in a yet another awkward situation, because he was so difficult for me to deal with at every Super Bowl that I covered him at, that I've never been a fan, but you can't deny the results, right? So, do some people believe he should be punished for Spygate? Should he? I don't know. I think he already was punished for Spygate. So he should have been punished. He was punished. And I think that's it, right? I mean, we talk about this with Barry Bonds in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's still on the outside looking in because everybody knows he cheated, right? And he never got punished for cheating. So this is his punishment for cheating. So their process is weird in terms of where they put him in. And since it's happened, there have been some voters that have come out and said, yeah, I did vote against him. And I really wasn't voting against him. I was voting for these other people because they happen to be clumped into the same category, and it's weird, and they shouldn't be doing it this way, but they've also been left out. So we're talking about guys that might be in their final opportunities in a couple of years to get in at any point versus Belichick, who's got a million opportunities. So, you know, I get the optics of not just being a Hall of Famer, but being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And you know what? Along with the North Carolina struggles, I don't mind that he's going through this. He was difficult to deal with, but he does deserve to be in.
Do you think it's precedent setting? Do you think they can make a change future? I don't know if we'll ever see a coach with that many in our lifetimes, or can they circle back on it? Can they? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, look, I think they'll make a change to the process. I don't think they'll do it in time to help Bill Belichick. Yeah. But if he can be the catalyst for change, you know, good on him. He's certainly been a revolutionary or a pioneer when it comes to defensive football and in roster construction and things like that allowed him to have the success that he had. So he winds up being the martyr in a change of process for the Hall of Fame. So be it. So, yeah, I do think it'll change because it's weird just seeing who they had to vote on. You had an owner, you had a coach, and then you had 3 alumni players, and they only had a certain number of spots. It's a weird setup.
I heard, let's stay with the NFL. I heard Sam Darnold today, I think, on Dan Patrick, and he's kind of going through how the week is for them. And he's really treating it like the game is this Sunday, like putting in as much as he can before they head down. As a guy that's covered a lot of Super Bowls, you're close to Seattle there. I'm sure you're going to be all over them. What's going on this week? Take us inside what's going on for the Seahawk camp in the building, strategy before they head off.
Yeah, you know, I was there yesterday, and it is kind of standard procedure for most Super Bowl teams to get their install in the week before, right? So that when they can get down there, It's a matter of tweaking, fine-tuning, and reviewing. You know, they might make a few changes, but the game plan goes in the week before for everybody. There's so many other distractions and things to manage on Super Bowl week that, yeah, you are practicing, but it's virtually all walkthrough for these guys when they get to that point, right? So the actual practicing is happening now, and you know, the Seahawks went outside yesterday. We were down there. They kind of changed their media setup a little bit, right? Usually on the Wednesday we get the previous week, we got Darnold on the Wednesday. We got Mike McDonald on the Wednesday. Yesterday, they made John Schneider, the GM, available, who isn't often available. And then they had an open locker room, but they didn't have any players that they brought to the podium like they did with Sam. So, you know, they are going outside of routine a little bit in terms of media availability and just how the week is set up because, you know, they don't have to do a walkthrough necessarily on Saturday. Right? Like they could actually practice on Saturday and then kind of take it to Sunday as being a travel day. So I think they've just pushed the start of the week back a little bit, but then it will be a normal week.
Are you all for, do you like the CFL communication window, tampering window, Ed Harvey weird situation? It's 2020, I think it started. Are you a fan of how the CFL does it here?
Well, to a point. I mean, I do think it's pretty common compared to the other leagues, right? Like the other leagues now have these communication windows, and it's very similar to the NFL in terms of things tend to get announced at the start of the windows as opposed to the start of the actual signature period for free agency. So, do I think they need a week? I think that's excessive, and I don't think that's going to continue. And I think they should get it off Super Bowl week, right? Like this is not good. Because last year I was on a flight to Super Bowl, breaking signings or agreements, and I expect to be doing that again this Sunday, right? So, yeah, but in terms of the negotiation window, like it's funny because all it's really done is move tampering up, right? So now people tamper ahead of the tampering window. So, you know, I do know that those conversations are being had. Everybody's anxious to kind of get things done. And, you know, then you've got the roster bonuses, right, that impact things because players get to get released before the window, you know, but sometimes the money's already been spent, right? Like, I mean, you know, we know in this case, right, Kenny Kim, who's an agent that represents Austin Mack and Tim White, he got his clients released early so they can get ahead of the market, right? And so those kinds of things are going to be, you know, somewhat of a trend as well.
We heard from Jeremy O'Day just before you. He had a media availability today, and he talked about A.J. Allen, C.J. Rivas, and he kind of kept going and saying it's not going to be the same team. Don't expect to see the same team. Softening the blow, I feel, in case. Now, nothing's done, but, you know, Rider fans need to understand, right? Running it back, you're never going to have the full band back together.
When teams win, people want their players, and those players want to get paid. And I think when we looked at this coming in, everybody thought that it was the receiving core that was going to get decimated because of all those guys coming up at the same time, and that they had some guys that potentially backfill. And now really the only starter they've lost is Dante Myers, and they may get him back at Labor Day, right? Like, you just don't know. So they've been able to save the offensive pieces, but it's come at the expense of the defensive side of the ball, because A.J. Allen, Malik Carney, Mike Rose are all important pieces. Revis, as you mentioned, and I don't expect any of those guys to be back at this point. I mean, they might pull a rabbit out of the hat with one of them between now and Sunday, but if you really look at it, right, there is one elite pass rusher available. His name's Malik Carney. So there's going to be a market for him because other guys just don't exist. So why wouldn't you go to market? You could get 250, right? There is, there's two really good defensive backs available in my mind. Destin Talbert, who we thought might go to free agency. Nope, he just got extended yesterday. Hamilton pulled that rabbit out of a hat. So that puts even more value on Revis. There's a ton of defensive backs that are going to be available, but none of them are as good as Revis. So he's all of a sudden going to be the top guy, and he's going to be available. Mike Rose is still, an important piece. And when I look at the Canadian class, I've never seen a Canadian class this thin. Like, Coulterwood Manzi is the only starting caliber Canadian offensive lineman that's going to be available. And Coulterwood Manzi is not an all-star. He's not a divisional all-star. He's generally not in the discussion from voters for divisional all-star. He is a legitimate starter. He's probably going to get 290 or more. Like, think about that. Because he's the only guy available. Right? So, this is going to happen with some of these guys. And then so A.J. Allen, like, when I look at the Canadians available, A.J. Allen tops the list in terms of ratio guys. And then, maybe Marc-Antoine Dequoy, maybe Coulterwood Manzi, but not a ratio guy because it's a Canadian position. So A.J. Allen has value because he can come in and change somebody's ratio. So he should go to free agency. He's going to get paid. So that's where you're at if you're a Sask fan.
And one thing that he did talk about that, resonated with me is, when the guys are younger and these contracts, their first couple of contracts, they're not as much willing to take a hometown discount. That's rightly so. You would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. You're trying to bank as much cash as you can. The older guys, well, then that's maybe where you'll see a little bit of a hometown discount.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think you've got some prime earning years, and it was rare before that players got significantly paid in their second contract. Usually I had to wait until contract 3. Now players are starting earlier. They're prepared to play earlier. And if you're a guy like A.J. Allen, this is when you're going to make it, and this is when you should make it. So and usually you also find out sometimes that guys will be willing to go home on their second deal. So it just kind of depends where you're at, right? Like, I mean, if you get into a bidding war, you got to take the money because you can always move home later. But, in the case of A.J. Allen, right, like, he won a Grey Cup with Saskatchewan. He's not from Saskatchewan, right? Yeah. The other guys that we're talking about are import players. So, hometown means different things to different players. Like, if you're A.J. Allen, maybe you want to go to Ontario because you went to Guelph and, you can get paid by one of those teams.
TSN's Football Insider Farhan Lalji with us for the Cooperators. I got a couple more for you. One is around a question I asked O'Day, and you probably know a number of these guys, if not all of them. I asked them, from what I hear and what people talk about, there isn't a lot of agents when it comes to the CFL. There's only a few guys. They got a lot of players. And he kind of said, he kind of echoed that. And I said, is that a detriment? When it comes to how the CFL operates and all that. And he went into a really good answer. From your point of view, is that something that the CFL, compared to other pro leagues, right, where you only have a select few agents and then they know everything and then they're negotiating? It's like, okay, you don't want this car in red. Well, I got this one in white over here, kind of thing. If you're, you kind of got different options for teams. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic. There's about 3 or 4, significant agents
hitters
in this league, and like you got to wonder how they feel about it. Like, if you're representing 3 quarterbacks, and there's one quarterback that needs your one team that needs a quarterback, like, how are you going to handle that? Now, I think all of these guys are pretty ethical, and I think they're pretty legitimate and honest with their clients, but. Yeah, I mean, like if you've got 3 linebackers and, which one are you pushing first? Now, generally the market kind of decides. The teams know what the pecking order is, right? Like we just had a scenario where Keyshawn Johnson, Austin Mack, and Tim White were all available. Well, everybody knows based on production, age, and skill set, right? Like some of them, like Tim White might be a better yak guy. Get the ball in his hands quick in a screen, and he can beat guys in space. You look at a guy like Austin Mack, he might be a vertical stretch contested ball guy, right? So I do think the market generally kind of sets things up, and, they know what the order of those players are. But, yeah, I mean, if you're an agent, that's got to lead to some tough conversations if you're representing multiple guys in the same position.
Okay, last one. I want to ask you about the Canucks. I saw you were doing some work covering them this week. Thatcher Demko shut down for the season. Probably not a bad thing because they ain't going anywhere anyway. What's the mood with Canuck fans and everything in Vancouver this year, Farhan?
Well, it's interesting. A bunch of the fans, a fan group, the Larshiders, actually began a chant at the game last night saying, "We want the cup." So there hasn't been anger and vitriol because ultimately the fans were calling for a rebuild. I think there's some anger that it took this long and that ultimately this was never a planned rebuild. The organization backed into it, right? So there is still a lot of cries of these guys are incompetent and in over their heads and all of those types of things. But, ultimately they want to see a rebuild. I think they'd like to see competitive games. And in the case of last night, Vancouver won a rare game. You don't want to go through 11-game losing streaks, right? Like you could win 2 out of every 5 games and still finish last overall. And I think that's probably what Canuck fans would prefer to see, where you've got some wins, maybe some home wins, and you've got just some functional play, and you're not getting blown out. Like, the Canucks got bombed by the Leafs a couple of weeks ago, and the Leafs have completely fallen off a cliff again this year.
Yeah, they've
got 1 win in their last 9. They're 10 points out of the last playoff spot in the East, and the Canucks are last place. I don't know. They play tomorrow. I don't know that there's been a less anticipated Canuck-Leaf game in my lifetime. Like, it's wild what we're going to see tomorrow. Look, I think the fans are expecting it. I think they just want to see what the plan looks like because what we saw in the offseason last year was not a rebuild when you go out and sign veteran guys the way they did.
Okay, I won't talk to you next Friday. If we're going to catch up Friday, it's going to be somebody else sitting in the seat because I'm off coaching. So go Patriots, obviously. Hockey, ice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I was going to say, please don't tell me you coach curling.
No, football in the spring. Heavy flag football.
Boy.
Heavy flag football. I'm already scheming. Yeah. So
nice.
Have fun down there. Super Bowl. We'll see how it all shakes out. 5 points, I think, is fair, but it's a Super Bowl. You never know. You never know.
Hey, look, the last few teams that were more than a 4-point underdog covered, right? So your team might do it, but Seahawks are playing pretty good right now.
All right. Have a good weekend.
See you, buddy.
There he is, our football insider from TSN, Farhan Lalji, joining us for the Cooperators. We'll go to break here. It's a SportsCage streaming through our YouTube channel. If you want to watch along, sportscage.com. We're on all the audio streams, of course, and on 620 CKRM. Welcome back. It's for Nelson Holmes on Friday. Home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Colson's with me. Hoping for Greg from the Piffles podcast in hour 2 will be with us. We got more from Jeremy O'Day and his media availability today that we're going to get to. We're going to update you on all the local sports scene coming up tonight and into the weekend. U of R Cougar women's basketball team. Big game with the U of S Huskies last night up in Saskatoon. Second loss of the season in conference play. 63-45. So they try and rebound tomorrow at the U of R Huskies back here. I think tip-off on that one, Colson, was 5 p.m. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have it up here somewhere, 5. We'll update you. It's tomorrow, though. Second loss of the season. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one tomorrow. We'll get back into the O'Day stuff in a bit. First off, let's talk curling at the Olympics. We're talking to Rachel Homan in hour 3 and her women's team heading over to Italy to try and grab us a gold medal. Steph Schmidt from Regina, curler on the Teveno team. Also a designer. Joins us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. If you're watching the stream, there you see her. Thanks for making some time today, Steph, because your story is very intriguing and interesting when it comes to designing the uniforms for the curlers over in Italy.
Thank you for having me. And it's exciting to be a designer chatting on a sports show.
Yes, we should have it more. We should have it more often. This isn't new for you, though, right? Like, you've been designing, from what I read, curling uniforms, gear, whatever, for a while.
It's been a few years now. Yeah, I got the really cool opportunity to design for the Scotties and for the Brier and for the World Championships. And I knew that if I did a good job of those, that I might be able to bid on the Olympic jersey design. And so I was fortunate enough to get that bid. So this has been so cool. I mean, to say you get to design the Olympic jerseys, who gets to say that? Like, that's just, it's not lost on me how cool that is.
Can you kind of give us a look on how that happens, like the bid and then the process? And is there nervous moments? I'm sure there is.
I think anytime you're putting your original ideas out into the world, it's a little bit of a nervous moment because you're like, look inside my brain. This is what I think would be a cool idea. But no, I think I had such a great experience working with Goldline and Curling Canada on the jerseys for the Scotties and for the Brier, that there was a trust that had built up. And so I had this sort of neat idea to introduce something different. Like, we've all seen the maple leaf. We love it. That's what athletes work their entire career to get the privilege of wearing that on their back. So making sure that we nailed that. But then I thought, is there something else that we can do to sort of storytell and tell stories from the land and tell stories of the athlete's jersey? And that's where we had this really cool collaboration with this artist, Shelby Gagnon. Yeah, you can see her there in the middle in between Brett Glant and Jocelyn and myself. And she was absolutely incredible. You can see Jocelyn's sleeve there. Shelby illustrated this absolutely gorgeous hummingbird for us. And for me, the hummingbird just nailed it. It could tell the story of the athlete's journey. It's this tiny little bird that you wouldn't expect can travel 20 hours at a time. And Shelby also took that as being able to tell stories from the land and ancestors and wish the athletes good luck. And so it was a match made in heaven.
Gee, is that ever a cool look behind the curtain? I designed some shirts for our podcast and stuff. I think it's a cool thing. Like, and this might be tough to answer. How many, I guess, ideas are on the cutting room floor? How long does it take?
A million. I think here's the thing, like, ideas aren't precious. I think that as long as you have that confidence that you're going to get to the right idea and be able to tell the right story, you shouldn't marry any ideas. The client might not love some of them. So you just hope that you do enough research that one sticks and lands. And Shelby and I looked at hundreds of different symbols that were sort of uniquely Canadian and that could tell both the perspective of the athlete and the land. And the hummingbird wasn't what we expected to land on, but here we are. And I think Canada has just fallen in love with it already, which has just been this such a sweet surprise. I think Sarah Wilkes is getting it tattooed, I think, on Team Homan. I think she's getting a hummingbird tattoo. It's really it's taken off. I had to make that pun.
Yeah. Obviously you think, Canada, it's like a beaver or a moose or something like that. It's like a hummingbird, which is fantastic. What about guidelines when it comes to the Olympics? Is there a lot there? Does that become difficult and challenging for a designer?
Yes. Yeah, you gotta jump through the hoops of. We started with the Canadian Olympic Committee, so the COC, and then there's the International Olympic Committee. Then there's Curling Canada's guidelines. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. So actually making it through any of the hoops was miraculous. So I'm surprised we got all of this through. Just like some unique ones too, like things that we learned were very interesting. Like, you can't have your national anthem anywhere on your jersey, and just little interesting things like that. So, at the Scotties and the Brier, I hid cute little Easter eggs inside the jerseys. Like, I wrote "See Thee Rise" on the collar. I thought that was a cute little nod to the athletes and acknowledging their hard work. Can't it was a little dicey whether or not we could have that continue on to the Olympics. So just interesting things.
Are there jerseys? Are there, sports as a whole? Are there a jersey, a design, a kit, as they called that jumps out to you, whether it's a pro team, a junior team, a college team, anything like that? Like something that you look at and go, ooh, I really like that. I love that. Anything like that comes to mind?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. have you seen the Lululemon kit for Team Canada for the Olympics?
Yes.
For this, do you know what I think they absolutely nailed? There's this really cool design rule. If you look at color theory, there's red, and opposite of red on the color wheel is green. Lulu picked up that green and incorporated it into the kits for Team Canada. And I was explaining this to my husband. I was like, this is really cool because it's great for design theory. The opposite of red is green. It gives your eye a chance to relax. They're using this color theory that we see like surgeons, like think about scrubs in a surgical room. Yeah. They're that teal green. Like we can all picture that teal green in our head. It's this perfect balance of relaxing the eye and giving the eye a break from the red so the surgeons can focus on the task at hand. So I just thought Lulu knocked it out of the park with that.
That is unbelievable. Steph Schmidt's joining us here. She designed the curling unis for Team Canada. Maybe the last one I want to ask you is as a designer, like when does this start for you? Is this something as a kid you were kind of drawing in class? You were always like a very artsy. You were. I got a 12-year-old daughter, right? So sometimes some of the stuff she does, I'm like, that is very cool. When does this journey start for you, and how does it go?
Well, I never thought that I would get to do the Olympics, but yeah, I was always kind of that kid that was doodling and drawing and head in the clouds. And my aunt was a designer for Harlequin Publishing, and I got to go, tail her and see how she was making these amazing designed book covers. So there's just all these cool avenues in art and design. And I think if you're creative, you can kind of find your place. And I was so fortunate that it was in curling, a sport that I love and get to play, and getting to contribute to it as a designer is just a dream come true. It's so cool.
Maybe I'll ask one more. Your team, the Teveno team, how many sets of jerseys do you guys have? Do you guys have like alternate, you see in hockey, there's alternates, or do you use this, I got this new design for this slam or whatever?
Oh my gosh, if it was up to me, we would have a ton, but it's a little costly to get the jerseys rolling. So we just have the one, and yeah, it's the one set. And the girls let me take the lead on the design for that one, which was nice of them. So
I love it. Congratulations. This is absolutely fascinating, I find. And then, we get to see it all next week when things start. And appreciate your time today, and congratulations.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Right on. From Regina, designer Steph Schmidt. As Colson was showing you, if you're watching the YouTube feed there, you saw the jerseys and the jackets. Jeez, the hummingbird? I don't know. That was something that was way over my skis. Yeah, get the tattoos. That'll be really cool as well. We'll come back. We'll talk more on the Riders and Jeremy O'Day. It is the Sports Cage, the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Friday show for Nelson Homes, supplying RTMs and home packages for over 65 years. Colson's with me. Thanks for making time today. Quickly, let's go a little WHL report here, brought to you by the Celebration Affordable Trailer Sales, February 6th to 16th. Every new unit purchase comes with an instant cash rebate. There's staying indoors on their lot and passing the savings on to you. Trades welcome, incredible prices, save money. Family-run business, affordable trailer sales. Regina Pats are in action tonight, 7 p.m. in Swift Current. Other Saskatchewan teams still twirling out there. While Brandon, close to Saskatchewan, they continue their U.S. swing in Tri-Cities. The Pats are back at home tomorrow night, and we do have tickets to give away. Is it tomorrow or Sunday, Colson? That Pats game. I'm looking at you with a blank stare. It is tomorrow. We do have tickets to give away. Moose Jaw's in town. Big one, 6 p.m. under the orange top. We'll take caller number 17 936 6262. Jeremy O'Day talks to the media like we talked about today, and the Riders re-signed DeMarcus Fields. Jeremy O'Day answered the first question he was asked from Robbie Vanstone was, how does he feel about the negotiation window?
Well, we're getting close. We've secured a fair number of our free agents, and I don't think you're ever really super comfortable with the roster at this time of the year, but I think going ahead in the right direction. It's a challenging time when you have that many free agents to try to retain as many guys as you want. But we feel pretty good about where we're at, and still feel comfortable moving forward with what the team will look like when we're done.
If you missed the clips off the start, kind of cushions the blow, like I said, and throughout the thing, it was just kind of reminding us that were in the media that were on the call that it's like, you're not going to get the full team back. Like, guys are going to want to go play there. They're exploring free agency. Whether they jump, maybe you get them back. You never know. Greg and I will chat about that in the next hour for sure. But he did talk about if getting Trevor Harris early was a big key.
I think so. I think you'd have to ask, the other guys, but I think, that was important for us to know that, he's our guy, and he's back. And, also the pace at which, that he wanted to get back. And so early on, it's certainly helpful. And, I've said this before, but Trevor's, he's awesome through free agency. He's willing to call and get on the phone with our guys. And, obviously they all enjoy each other and they'd like to have everyone back. So, he's been very, very helpful, really, just to get a hold of the guys and just make sure that they know they're wanted.
All right, we got more audio coming up from Jeremy today. I got to get to the Prairie Land Rentals text line. It wasn't refreshing, so sorry everybody out there that was texting. I apologize on my tardiness. First off, YouTube chat, Jeffrey, I do get your Harlequin joke there. That was funny. I don't like to give you too much credit, Jeffrey. You know that. So I'm going to give you that one. Brian Gawley is off to Melville for the Mills game tonight. Great barn there. Sledding with his brother for the day. Picture of his sled right there. Good. That's good sledding weather, isn't it? I don't know. I haven't hopped on a sled for about 20 years, but it looks nice out there. Craig in Yorkton. He said, listen to the Thursday pod driving to Yorkton to Saskatoon this morning. The Calder Rink, Calder, is in fact still standing, or at least it was a couple of years ago. Kids got invited to a birthday party at it. I went for a twirl too, almost hit your head on the ceiling in the corners. And then there's some pictures of it. Oh, man, Craig, that is what, because it was yesterday, Darren Dreger. If you didn't listen to yesterday's show, we had Darren Dreger, we had Mike Commodore, Sharky, I guess, still a draw for some of you. But this, and then I remember Bradwell, the Bradwell rink in like an novice tournament. Remember it being called no benches, like no benches. Both teams went out the only door into the gate, and it looked exactly like this from what I remember. That was literally 41 years ago, and this rink that Craig sent in, that Darren Dreger called it the coldest rink in Saskatchewan he's remembered playing in. Calder, Saskatchewan. Still standing 2 years ago. Craig got to go to a birthday party there. Well, Craig went for a twirl, too. He must have been there. James says, sign Trey Ford with the Jake Mayer money. Do we need another quarterback? I think Cohn's the guy. I think Cohn's the two. Cohn's our guy now. Watch, in 3 years from now, I probably won't be here, but we're going to be like, oh, remember when Jack Cohn, like we were like, oh, should they sign him? Da, da, da. And then now he could be the guy. He could be this. Everyone has to start somewhere, right? A bunch of you texted in earlier this week on the Anthony Calvillos came out of nowhere. And Bo Levi Mitchell, I think, had a good first game. But you guys out there that are finger on the pulse in the CFL. You sent it in. So, James, I'm going to disagree there. I don't think we need to try sign Trey Ford with the Jake Mayer money. I think let's sign some pass rushers. Could need that. Come soon. I like our offense. Roscoe, my boy, how's it going on this Friday? So is the ice ready for curling at the Olympics? Or are they using part of the luge track? Roscoe's doing material today on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. I think the curling rink has been ready for a while. I remember asking Benny Hebert that. He said, I think it was good. Oh, Coulson, if you're watching the stream, there it is, the Calder community rink. Jeez, is that awesome. I that, like, if that's not Sasky, if you're not watching the stream, can't help you there. But it's like a Quonset-ish. One of the, like, that's awesome. Keep text coming, 936-6262. Okay, he made it in. Greg from the Piffles podcast with 5 minutes left in hour number 1. Are you ready for the free agency window? This has got to be Christmas for you guys on the Piffles podcast.
Oh, the Ed Hervey window? We love the Ed Hervey window.
Yeah, the Herv.
The Hervey.
Can we just call it the Herv?
Oh, well,
did I win an award, by the way?
You did not. No, okay. Rob Vanstone won a Piffy, not you.
Did he?
Yeah.
What was I even up for anything?
You were. It was a tough category this year, but you were not up for most obscure stat.
Okay. I got something to aspire to in 2026. How are you feeling though? What do you like? I like after here. I don't know if you heard Jeremy O'Day today. I think AJ Allen is he's gone. He gone.
AJ Allen, CJ Rivas, and I would even put, and yes, O'Day said AJ Ouellette and the team are moving closer together, which is good because I know for a fact they were very far apart on the initial offer. But yeah, CJ and AJ, Scoop. All these guys are going to check out the Ed Hervey window. I don't blame them. See what's out there. Like, nice thing about that week, the riders have a chance to see what the market value is on those guys and make matching offers. If not, beat them. So, it doesn't surprise me these guys want to see what their value is, and I don't blame them. Football careers are short.
Wouldn't we all do the same thing?
100%.
If you're in a position of strength with your employer or your organization or whatever, people, it's easy to say, I would never do that. Yeah, sure. Until you're in the situation and there's bag of money here, bag of money there, which, so this, when 2020 this started, and I asked Farhan about it. We're going to replay that in hour 3. It's interesting that the CFL does it, but other leagues do it, and then there's still tampering that goes on. Let's be honest. All that does one story come up in the last 4 years or 5 years where you thought someone was gone and then they went and tested things out and then they came back?
It happens all the time that players will see the market, see what their market is. Nothing sticking out on top of my head. Guys, if they want to come back, they come back. It depends. Like, the things that surprise me the most are the guys that go early, like that sign early. Like, look at your MLS. MLS could have made more money in the open market, and he decided to stay for 2 years. Campbell was looking at retirement. You look at a guy like looks like Marcus Sales actually renegotiated his deal over the last couple of days. So I'm guessing he got a bit of a bonus and taking a little less on the back end to help the team out.
Older guy. Like Sales, right? Maybe it's his last contract. And like Jeremy said, I get it. When you're early, you make your hay, right? But then on the other side of it, you also hear guys going, it's my last contract. I want to put as much into the bank if I can. Now, if they're American, then you really got the 30% issue and all that. But in Canada, it's like, you also, if it's your last contract, you want to try and make as much as possible, maybe.
Well, it depends. It depends on the player. Some guys are about legacy. Some guys are about money in the bank. So which one do you want to be? Do you want another ring, or do you want a shot to win, or do you just want to get paid and you don't care about the W's and L's?
Mike Rose, what's your gut saying there?
They need to do something about that defensive line. Don't get me wrong. I like the guys that are still around. Problem is they're young and raw. With no Mike Rose right now, Scoop maybe on the way out. And yes, Micah Johnson is now the coach, but you don't have an on-field leader right now. Like even Habakkuk Baldonado would be an awesome addition to this line. Like Baldonado is one guy I'm super high on. I hope he's back. I would like to see Carney back, but yeah, Mike Rose would definitely solidify the middle of that line.
We're going straight into it? All right. We got more. I got a bunch of text messages as soon as you started talking, Greg. People will read those in hour 2, maybe after Eric Francis. Let's go to Ticker.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Switch to Reliance today and get $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance.
Riders have extended core member of the secondary, DeMarcus Fields. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Hockey tonight. Regina Pats and Swift Current pregame show here on 620 CKRM starting at 6:30. Other Saskatchewan team, Moose Jaws, home to the Edmonton Oil Kings. SJ Millionaires welcome the Battlefords, Melford and Nipawin. Flin Flon in Estevan. That should be a gooder down there. Nice bar set up too at the Estevan rink. I'll give a shout out to that. Warman is in Humboldt. Prairie Junior Hockey League, the Moosomin Steelhawks, Greg's boys, hosting Fort Knox at 8 p.m. Scotty Tournament of Hearts. Loser of, we got some next draws at 6 p.m. We'll leave it at that. Also, lacrosse fans, the Rush in action against Calgary, 8 p.m. And only one hockey game in the National League. Columbus Blue Jackets at the Chicago Blackhawks. SportsCage.com poll today. Why hasn't Saskatchewan won a national men's or women's curling championship since 2011? You can vote at SportsCage.com. It's for Switch to Reliance, the event going on there. You do it today, $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance. We're going to break. We come back off the rails with Eric Francis. It's the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage on this Friday. Maybe you're traveling out there. Nice day to travel. Greg from Piffle's podcast is with me and Colson today. You drove back from Winnipeg this morning?
Yep.
How was that? How was the drive?
Well, not as fulfilling as the last time I was in Winnipeg, but I don't think I won't be fighting the Winnipeg for 3 weeks like I did last time.
Yeah, it's not a bad day to travel compared to last weekend when we were in here. It was like minus 74 with the wind chill. So, yeah, stay safe out there. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for making time, or on the streams, of course, 620 CKRM. You know one thing we never talked about this week, and you're here, and I was just looking through my phone. That nut, can I call him a nut?
Sure.
That was climbing that building last weekend.
Oh, the free climb. Yeah.
And it was live on
Netflix.
Netflix?
Yeah.
What happens if he falls?
Oh, that's kind of what I was wondering too. Like, then again, if you look at
how is that? 2026 is off to a wild start. If that's what the kind of content that we are going to be consuming out there in this world.
Yeah, possible death on social media every weekend is gonna be great.
Did you ever rent Faces of Death as a kid? It was the video stores had it.
Yeah,
a lot of them. I think it was Family Video and Confed in Saskatoon where we got it. Like Blockbuster didn't.
I'm certain Lucky Dollar Mooseman probably had it, but I don't think I ever saw it.
I don't know if what were the owner's name? I don't know, but you had to like ask for it, and it was like behind the counter, not out on the. It was disturbing. Some of you out there are in my demographic and remember it. Faces of Death. Disturbing stuff. You'd like get to your buddy's house and it's like, yeah, movie night, and you'd put it in and you'd all sit there with this. What did we just watch? Oh man, is so. Why did I bring that up? Now
I don't know. Where are we going with this?
Because we're talking about free climber guy. What's his name? And like, I thought it was AI. The first few posts on social media, yeah. I'm like, nah, this isn't really happening.
Yeah, Skyscraper Live is what they called it, but yeah, I can't think of the guy's
Alex
name.
Honnold.
Alex Honnold,
I believe.
And where's he from? His age?
He is American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's 40 years old.
It was really funny because right away you start thinking about, posting videos of you climbing something as a joke. I saw one of a guy doing it in his house with his like wife. But I'm like, that is what Netflix is getting into now.
It's all about content is king, right? So you got to do something live to grab people's attention, especially for that live stuff, because everything else is streaming. I can't think of the last show I've actually watched on a schedule.
Like you sat down,
like back in the day, like
besides a sporting event.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like any scripted show now, you can get streaming and binge it when it's done.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, oh, tonight, it's the last episode of Family Guy.
Yeah.
No, it's just, which I watched one yesterday. I really watch Family Guy maybe once every month or so on the 24-hour Family Guy thing.
Yeah.
And my the missus was going to bed, and I was playing it, and sometimes it's just how it is. They just keep going on a joke, and then she's like, can you turn that off? It's annoying. So then I put on the next show that she hates even more. Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I'm like, I just keep digging and digging. Yeah. But man, I just had it on my phone, and somebody just messaged me about something as kids we used to climb, and I was like, I can't believe that's what Netflix is putting out there now. Sorry for the ramble. Let's go talk to Eric.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
Do you remember Faces of Death?
I remember Faces of Death, but I got to be honest, when I went to the video store, that wasn't the video I was asked for from behind the counter. I'll leave it.
He asked for the binder?
Anyway,
he asked for the binder.
You were the curtain in the back guy. Curtain in the back. What's back here? Oh, can I see?
Hey,
what's back?
I still got my Blockbuster card behind me and everything. You remember you try to cut people off at the pass, because the hot new movie was out, and you knew that all 15 copies were probably gone, but you saw someone walking in. You'd be like, hey, is that I'm drawing a blank on what Terminator, yeah. Sure, yeah, that could have been Home Alone or The Fog or some crappy movie. But you try to cut them off at the pass. That was a savvy move.
I'll do you one better. I remember this move. Oh, what's a big movie that when it came out, it was always like gone? And I remember being at I think it was TVS. I don't think it was Blockbuster. It was TVS. And the slot, people would drive by. They had the drive-by slot, boop, and they would throw it in. So I'd invest the time.
You start fishing?
I'd sit by the slot and just hear and be like, oh. And then I'd be annoying and be like, someone around, hey, can you check? Is that, Terminator? And then they'd go and look, no. And then probably by the third one, they're like, get the hell out of here. Stop asking me. It's like, oh yeah, buddy would pull up in his Sunfire and drop off his movie, and you were just hoping. You had to be on your game. To get the right rentals. Colson, you have no idea what we're talking about. That's the beauty part of this. You never lived through the goodness.
Well, actually, my mother-in-law worked at the Blockbuster in the city, so I have heard a good number of stories.
Oh.
Did she ever bring up the annoying guy that used to sit by the slot and ask if, hey, did Showgirls get dropped in there? Or, yeah.
Showgirls, what a bad movie.
Was it?
Oh, it was terrible.
Showgirls.
Nothing beats.
Poor Jesse Spano never recovered after that one.
Nothing beats going back and renting a movie or two. Better yet, if you weren't rich, which we weren't, and for your birthday party, or my buddy's Ken, his name was Ken. And I don't know if you guys grew up with kids like this. They weren't well off. They rented a bungalow. I remember that. It had a musty smell.
Okay.
But he was like an oopsie. I was an oopsie too. But he was like not supposed to, and he was spoiled. But they didn't have much. Like they had a VCR way before anybody else. But they were renting a house, and like I don't know if they had a vehicle. And Ken had the video games first, and he had all the wrestlers and all this, and then it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Like he's sharing a room with his sister. Like this, how do they have so much money to buy on the useless stuff? Then you get older and you see your buddies are buying the big screen TV while you're saving for a car or a house. And it's like, oh, look at this TV I just got. But buddy, you're in your mom's basement. Maybe think mortgage at time. But anyway, the best was when you could rent a VCR. If you didn't have one, which we didn't for the longest time, you try and hook it up to the back, and it's like, oh crap, our TV's too old. How we getting the coaxial cable? And did you ever rent a VCR?
You know what? I rented like when they were those big discs. That's even before your time, I think. Like I remember literally renting. They weren't. Yeah, they might have been laser discs, but they were before the VCR.
Beta.
No, it wasn't beta. It was like it was the size of a record. It was so bizarre.
That came after.
Yeah, that came after VCRs.
That was after?
Yeah.
No, the one, anyway, it was the size of a record was the Laserdisc?
Oh, yeah. They're huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I remember two of the major purchases for my family. Like, they weren't major purchases. They were expensive, but I remember there being considerable debate between my mom and dad. We were pretty middle class. One was a VCR, because I don't remember what the real dollars were, but it seemed in my mind they were about $700 in today's dollars. So that was a big nut. It probably was. It was probably $80. And then the other one was a microwave, and we were terrified. When the microwave went on, for the first little while, we would leave the room. Like you'd push the button, and then we didn't want anyone to get any microwaves in their brain, so you had to leave the room.
Yeah.
And everyone was terrified. We kept reiterating every day, remember, no metal, no forks, no knives in there. Now it's like, might be the most useful piece in our, although the fryers, the air fryers now are kind of taken over, but microwave was a big, big deal.
The text messages are coming in like crazy. This is the beauty part of it. Who cares about sports? Let's talk about stuff like this. The microwave thing, I remember the old wives' tale that if you got a neon light and you put it by the microwave and it lit up, that means it was leaking. So that's why we all stood back like it was it was Chernobyl. It was like, what is this thing? And then, so Brent texted in from Saskatoon, Blu-ray.
No, so
was the big disc. No, I remember Laserdisc.
Laserdisc were the size of the records. When Blu-ray came out, it was the fight between HD DVD and Blu-ray, and that's why I got a PlayStation 3, because they came with a built-in Blu-ray player.
Oh, Mooseman? Did you buy it at the...
No, I had someone pick it up in Moose Jaw for me.
Yeah. Here, I can't say, like, we had a microwave late. I know that. We had a VCR really late, because I remember the cord. It was, like, not even, like, the remote. But one thing, my dad's business was, like, easy come, easy go, how he made his money. So sometimes it was like, whoa. And then other times it was like, I don't know, eat bread, and that's all you got. We had a satellite dish. And the original,
the big one,
where the original, you had to go outside and crank it, and then someone had to yell from the basement, "Yeah, it's good." And then it was like F4. Yep. So in my mom's basement, we still have the made up thing that my one sister made, where it has the channels. Okay, Much Music is on A or W5. W5 was a hot one. I remember that. And then there was the channels that I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid. And then I remember the day we got where you didn't have to go outside and wind it. I must have been like 7 years old. And it would do it on its own.
You got the rotation box.
And my dad had this guy come and install it. And my dad is a lot like me. If my wife's listening right now, she's laughing. I can't fix anything properly or well. I'm not good with tools. Sorry. You want lifting guy? I'm lifting guy. Or clean up guy? I'm clean up guy. But my dad and this guy put this thing together on the back of the satellite. I remember it like it was this box, and it was like all duct taped and then electric taped up. And I was like, and now I'm looking at that is something Barney would do. They never got it done professionally. They just hacked it together. But a satellite dish, you're a baller. You're a baller.
Wow. I still, you remember the Gerald 400? That was like the original converter for your TV, but it was on a cord, and it was all push button, click, click, click.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal who controlled the Gerald 400. And then the last thing, and then we should move on to something in the last 40 years. What is the over-under on the age for someone who would understand when I say, please be kind, rewind?
Child of the age.
Like, do we even have to explain what that means?
38?
Probably.
Over under? I'd go under 38.
Yeah, like if you're under 38, you don't understand. If you were to rent something from Blockbuster and that video wasn't completely rewound or someone left it right near the end, it could ruin your whole night. It could ruin your week. You know, like near the end of Officer to Gentleman or something, and all of a sudden you find out what really happens.
Yeah. And then, oh man, last thing on the satellite thing. These memories are flowing back now, man. My dad, the hockey games on there, like, and he'd go by the catalog from the Book Nook on 8th Street, and it was this big, and it'd be like Flyers, Rangers, and it would have, and you'd go to W5, and then the game would, there was no commercials. Right? So the guys would be like, all right, I'm going to take a leak, Jim. And it was like the guys talking, and sometimes they would swear and all that because there was no commercials. And you know whose parents would come over in our basement and watch their son play early in his NHL career? Because he worked for my dad one summer. Dave Brown.
Dave Brown.
Dave Brown worked for my dad, and then his parents, they were friends. So they would come over and watch Doug's Cooperalls. I remember the Cooperall days. They would come over and watch Flyer games with Dave Brown. That's it. All right, Eric. Have a good weekend.
Hey, boys. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. That Macklin Celebrini move last night, it is my clutch performer coming up in a bit here, where he gets high stick. It's not really a high stick, though. His head jerks back, and then the ref pull. If anyone didn't see it out there, I'm painting the picture. His head jerks back. It's Ekholm, I think, and then the ref calls a penalty. But then Celebrini skates to the ref. Is like, no. I didn't get hit. I remember that happening a few years ago for some reason, Eric. But talk about how many fans did that kid gain yesterday on this move?
Absolutely. You know. Like Brady Tkachuk did that earlier this year, and they actually overturned the call. And you love that. I love Brady Tkachuk's one of my favorite players because of stuff like that. But Celebrini, you know, I sat in his hotel with him today for a one-on-one just to talk about the Olympics and for a feature I'm writing to setting up the Olympics, and just to spend time alone with this kid. We are in good hands in our nation with this kid as our future star on and off the ice. Like, you know, we're lucky we've had Sidney Crosby all these years as a guy who, you know what I always said about Gretzky too, you know, there's a guy who you know will never embarrass your team, your country, or your sport. I've always said that about Gretzky, and it's the same standard I would hold to Sidney Crosby. I mean, hey, if a guy's wife gambled on sports, that's a different thing. That doesn't count. But with Celebrini, there's no way I could ever see him embarrassing him any of those three things. And he's humble. Like I literally said to him, I said, look, I know you're as humble as they come. Can I just ask, is there one thing that you can say, and it's not bragging, but that you're really good at? Like, just admit to one thing. Maybe you could make a great grilled cheese. And he said, actually, I make great banana bread. And he goes, no, I can't take credit for that. That's my mom's recipe. And like, this is the kind of guy he is. And then he says, actually, it's going to sound weird, but the one thing I think I'm really good at is keeping my house really tidy. And he goes, my mom taught me that too. And I'm just like, when a guy talks like about his mom like that, you want to hug him. And when he pulls a move like that in the game, and is immediately, like his head did snap back, but that was just a reaction. Like it wasn't a big fake job like a lot of guys will do and play it up. It was a natural reaction, and he immediately waves to the ref. No. Don't call a penalty. No, it's not a penalty. And I agree with you. That's as classy and as cool a move as I've seen in the NHL this year. That and Brady Tkachuk did the same thing.
Well, give us a preview. How is he looking forward to the Olympics? Like, this is a big deal for a kid his age.
Oh, my God. Well, I said, did you get your Lululemon stuff yet? Like, because I feel like that would be the moment, right? It comes in the mail, and you open it up. You're like,
How about throwing the jersey on? Eric's going, no, when you get your yoga pants.
Yeah.
No, they're not the yoga pants. It's just that's the official outfitter of the Team Canada. So the package comes and he's like, oh, I didn't order anything from Lulu this week. What's this? And you open it up and it says Team Canada Olympics on it. Like, that would be a moment to me. I don't know. I probably will never participate in the Olympics. But I can only imagine that is, I mean, that said, I've always said I could have been on the national après-ski team. Like, I think I could have done it if I really worked a little harder.
The what?
The after-ski. The après-ski.
Oh.
The après-ski. Like, that moment when you take off those crappy boots and your feet feel so much freer and you order that hot toddy or rum and coke, that is national. I'm pretty good at that. But anyway, he got the Lulu stuff. And then he got an Olympic jersey with his name on it, and he said that was a moment that I can't ever, I'll never forget. And it's funny when they called him on the morning to tell him he was on the team, and the whole country was debating whether he was going to make it or not. And I think most of us realized he was going to make it. He certainly deserves it. He missed the call. He was getting ready to go to the rink. They had an afternoon game, and he missed the call. Can you imagine the horror when he looked down? It says Doug Armstrong. Called, and he's like, oh my God. So he called him right back, and he got the good news. But yeah, he's looking forward to learning, and that's another sign of what the ski says. I just can't wait to see how I stack up against the pace and all the best players in the world. I'm like, dude, like, you are the pace. You are one of the best players in the world, but he's never going to admit that. And that's where the Sidney Crosby comparisons are bang on with this kid in every way.
I thought you were going to say he missed the call because he was making banana bread. I seriously thought that's what you were going to say.
Imagine missing that call. Yeah, imagine missing that call, and then he calls him back, and they're going, "Oh, sorry, we moved on."
Oh. Yeah, and that would be your first thought, like, oh my God, it was close, and all things being equal, if I'm not punctual and I don't answer the phone when I'm called, maybe that hurts.
But Bedard picked up and you didn't, so we're going with him.
I have to admit, yesterday, kind of cheated on you. Had Darren Dreger on from McNutt, Saskatchewan, Langenberg guy. He says, I asked him about the Sharks and kind of maybe what moves they make, because they're in a position here, which no one would have thought, like my Patriots, right? They're in a position. He thinks possibility that they take a long, hard look. Mike Greer takes a long, hard look at Panarin. You got anything from since the Sharks are close by you there?
Yeah, and I have heard that connection, and I certainly think there's smoke there. Of course, you're going to make the phone call and find out. In terms of timelines, to me, it doesn't make sense. Panarin wants a contract that's going to take him into his 40s. And, it's kind of like the Rasmus Anderson situation here. Like, yeah, of course you'd like to keep him. Of course he was their best player, but just the timelines didn't match up. The San Jose right now is not just trying to make it into the playoffs this year. They're trying to make it in for the next 10 years. And with some of the youngsters they have, that's a very real possibility. This Will Smith that's on Celebrini's line is a player. So is Colin Graff. He's also on their line. And, of course, Michael Misa. Like, there's 4 right there, 4 studs. That's 4 more studs than the Calgary Flames have and most teams in the league. So I just don't know if that's the kind of guy you want to tag on. You're going to have to start signing those other guys for a lot of money in the next 2 or 3 years. So I wouldn't touch Panarin, but I understand you would kick the tires. That's what a good GM does.
I'm reading some of these text messages. People want, they love the satellite and VCR talk. I think that's all they want. Like, we could be 2 of the biggest, when we're in Vegas together, we're going to Vegas at the same time. We're going to end up having a few cocktails and talking about the dumbest crap, and people around us are going to be like, what are these idiots talking about?
Oh my God. Did you ever ride a BMX bike?
Yeah. I had one stolen. It broke my heart.
Oh, that would have crushed someone with the number plate and everything.
Exactly. And the donuts and the mushrooms and whatever, the trick bag. Dummy, I took brand new trick pegs because I thought I was deadly to the swimming pool and locked up my bike. Came out of that swimming pool, trick pegs gone.
No.
Yeah, Riversdale Pool. And anybody from Saskatoon, there's like, I grew up a block away from there. Dummy.
Did it have the chromoly wings, the chromoly rims? Like, I had all the gear.
I had a Norco from Walter Cycle. It wasn't great. I didn't have a Kuahara or what was
Diamondback tires.
Diamondback. Man, that was those were nice, but there was one more. Kuahara, Diamondback. It's a short name.
Mongoose, was it?
No, but it's not the one I'm thinking of. Hara? Started with an H.
Harakua. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
What? I can't believe we're on the air right now talking about this. This is so good.
Anyway, I just thought since we're tripping around those years, we should
Did
talk
you
about
ever have a BMX? Yes, me. I'm telling you. Okay, but anyway, hockey aside, next week the Olympics starts, and this is brought to you by Sports Select. Eric, go to sportselect.com. I was talking about this yesterday. Under futures, you can bet on some of the Olympic sports that you would have never thought. The one I'm looking at now, Colson, you can bet on who's going to win the 10-kilometer freestyle cross-country race, men's and women. Think about it. You place a wager on it, and you sit and watch cross-country skiing for 4 hours. I don't know, how long does it take them to go? Colson, how long does it take someone to go around a 10-kilometer freestyle cross-country track? But look at the value you can get on some of these people, Eric. Why wouldn't you take a stab at 81 to odd on Edvin Anger? Just with the name alone.
Well,
RC Ruskinen, he's got to be from Finland.
Yeah, I'd go off the board. Is there a Bjornsson in the race? That's who I'd bet on. I don't even know. Sounds like someone who could win.
We got a Berglund. Berglund is paying.
We got a Barb.
Gustav Berglund pays 200 to 1 to win the men's 1,000-kilometer freestyle winner at the Olympics.
My God, I love it.
I know. Okay.
So yeah, we'll talk Wednesday. I'm taking a little Olympic break, so I don't know what days we're going to talk next week and the week after, but. Between golf rounds, I'll find a way to chat with you because I always love our chats, and I got to get caught up on the latest in technology. That's what we always kind of.
Well, you better let me know because I'm planning out the week already next week. I'm not here Friday.
Okay, we'll exchange. Okay. I'll send you some snail mail and
got a pigeon?
Express post.
Great idea. I'm going to try and find a couple of BMXs for us to rent in Vegas and go up and down the strip. Just one twirl. 2 old men on BMXs.
I feel like a bunny hop now would ruin my spine for the rest of my life. A wheelie or a bunny hop would be the end of me.
I'll do an endo and keep going.
Not that I need to add anything to this, but have you guys heard of the Shaker Hills Country Club in Harvard, Massachusetts?
No.
Golf course. And I feel like this is right up your alley, and this is going to be my clutch perform today. They have a drive-through golf cart bar.
I've seen these before.
I've seen this.
Oh.
What's that course in Idaho that all the ballers play? All the NHL guys. No.
Yeah, the Gretzky.
Gaza Ranch.
Gaza Ranch. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm off to. My boss isn't listening right now, right? I'm off to Mexico
probably.
during the Olympic break, and in Cabo. This was new to me last year when I was there. They have comfort stations, and they have 4 of them at pretty much every course. So you hit them every 3 or 4 holes. And in most of the courses, like the green fees are like $500 US anyway. So to sit here and say everything's free is really a facade. But you go into these things, and there's ladies making like fresh carnitas and tacos, and it's unlimited booze and food and candy. It's the greatest concept in golf.
Cabo del Sol was the course I played. That was like mind blowing. But still, nothing like doing an endo on the strip in Vegas in April.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a wild ride.
And slight correction to what I said. The greatest concept in golf is not the comfort station; it's the breakfast ball.
Yeah,
and the mulligan.
Seriously, text me tonight, please. Let me know. Let me know what days work. All right. Be kind. Rewind.
Okay.
Talk to you next week.
Later, Skater.
I don't know. Somebody texted in, thank you for making my Fridays or something like that. Oh my God, Barney, you make Fridays awesome. We had a dish like that. It's not just me, it's everybody. It's just, man, yeah. Did anybody in Moosomin have the satellite dish?
Someone had to, because my first house I bought had one of those giant dishes still in the back. They never took it down.
Yeah.
And they had the rotator and everything still hooked up in the house, but I never actually tried using it.
I remember I got banged up once. I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and I was like, I'm going to try and hook this up. I got wasted like 3 hours trying to hook this thing up. What an idiot. That was Eric Francis, the NHL Insider, Off the Rails with Eric Francis on Fridays. Brought to you by SportsSelect.com. We were talking about all those futures. Simply make your picks online. Generate your QR code. Lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Now, every bet 100% legal. Must be 18 plus to play, and play responsibly. We might have a sprinkle of the day coming up in a bit. We'll go to break here at SportsCage, streaming through our YouTube channel at SportsCage.com. Mine first is Macklin Celebrini from the San Jose Sharks. I started watching him. Probably not the right thing to say, but really it was a month ago or so. I watched a full game and I was blown away. Now I've watched 3. And then last night, this move with Ekholm high sticking him, but it doesn't hit him, and he face jerks, and he tries to go to the ref to tell him it didn't hit me in the face. It's not a penalty. Kid's unreal. And he is a kid.
Yeah, he is a kid.
Colson?
Yeah. Other young kid in the NHL. Bedard.
Yes.
See his release on the last night.
Yeah, this was dirty.
My wife showed me this. Oh,
in a losing effort to my Penguins, but that was a dirty move.
That was sick. If you're not watching on the stream, top Ched style.
Just hits the brakes. Defenseman keeps going and I'm just going to fire it over your shoulder.
Boom. Schelfenstein. Clutch performer for Kellen Solar, located in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. When you're thinking solar, think of Kellen Solar, local family-owned company from Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Roscoe on the text line. Back in the day, wife was doing popcorn and microwave. She calls me to look into it. I throw it out the back door because it was on fire. I remember when... You would know. No, definitely not you. Do you remember when microwave popcorn first came out? Orville Redenbacher's? Yep. It was like you were going on a space shuttle to the moon. Like you felt so, wow, I can make this in that little box on the counter over there. But it was not an exact science.
No.
And those old microwaves, you never knew. Like I said, it was like a little bit Chernobyl-ish. It was like, what kind of power's running through this thing?
Well, no microwave was the same either. Like, I remember our microwave and my grandparents' microwave.
Yeah.
Like, yes. You would think it would be the same, and no, like, you're talking, like, instant, like, Chernobyl, like, or just, it would take forever to actually heat something up.
I think that still happens to me. It's like I would try and warm something up at my mom's house. Actually, my mom got a new one, but that last one she had, and then I think the final was she put something in for 2 minutes and hit like 22. Burnt fire. Yeah, microwaves are good times. Brad in Saskatoon. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Brad. Renting a VCR with the big silver metal carrying case, the size of a suitcase. Classic. That's how it was. You had to rent the VHS.
Never rented a VCR. Rented several video game systems, but never VHS.
Again, wasn't that the best weekend of your life?
Oh yeah, you and a buddy have a buddy sleepover. You grab like an N64 or Super Nintendo, depending on at what time.
I go old school. I remember renting Nintendo.
And then you'd get a pizza from the local pizza place, and you play all night. It's awesome.
This guy should have a SportsCage sleepover. Get some hotel, get a Genesis, a Nintendo. Yeah, like before you actually bought a Nintendo, because some people got it, boom, quick out of the gate. Money wasn't an object. You had to rent it, and you'd rent it Friday night. Yep. And you'd try and get to AJ's Video Games or wherever you rented it, and everyone's different. And then you'd want to and we got it until Monday. Because Sunday they were closed.
Yep.
So you got that day for free. And you got, like, I remember Kung Fu. Nintendo Kung Fu.
Look at that, Nintendo Kung Fu, yeah.
I loved Baseball Stars. It's still one of my greatest video games ever.
I remember renting Mega Man 3, and then when we finally got our first Nintendo, that was the first game I bought with my own money. I think it cost like $19.
And Mario Brothers 2 sucked.
Oh, it was
Let's be honest.
It was brutal.
Mario Brothers 3, great.
Awesome game.
Probably the only game I ever, was it called Wrapped? Wrapped it?
Yeah, Wrapped it, yeah.
The only game, I didn't have the attention span.
You couldn't wrap Mario 1?
No. No.
I sped run that game.
But sports, any like bases loaded, Blades of Steel, I had it. I got sucked in. I loved ice hockey more.
Nolan Ryan baseball.
Baseball Stars, bases loaded. RBI kind of sucked. Tecmo Bowl, I still could play it for hours. I beat the boy. We were playing it. And then RC Pro-Am.
Oh, yeah.
Race around.
Micro Machines. One of my favorite.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah. Racing like little cars. It was awesome.
Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, I love Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. Yeah. Anyway, Travis in Regina on the Rough Rider free agency and who they're going to sign and who haven't they signed. He said Baldonado is a penalty liability. Stupid penalties at terrible times. Hope he's gone. That's Travis in Regina, not us. Dean says, I like going young and developing a QB in-house instead of a journeyman vet. Dean in Regina. Let's go back, Colson, to some of the O'Day clips if we can, if you're cool with that. Because the one I wanted to go to here was number 5, where he talks, should we read into re-signing Jack Cohn and not Jake Mayer?
I'd say it's accurate what you just said. You can read into it. Again, as I said before, everyone's in a different position in their career. Jake we brought last year, thought he was excellent, did a great job for us. And I think for him, he's got to evaluate where he's at in his career and, where's the best opportunity for him. I think last year, the best opportunity for him was with us. Seeing that Trevor had a couple years where he got dinged. This year, Trevor was healthy and finished the season strong and had a great year as we know. So things can change. So you can read into it, but in fairness to the players involved, I won't comment.
Your comments on that, Greg, from Piffle's podcast?
I laughed really hard because I didn't hear it. This is the first I've heard him say it. I read the transcript of that comment and I laughed really hard. It's obvious they weren't happy with what Jake brought to the team. If you look at the articles from a few years ago, the first year that Cohn was on the team was very high on him. In fact, they were talking about him like he was the backup when it was Shea Patterson. So they really believe they got something with Jack Cohn. I still think they bring in somebody.
Oh, do you?
I think so. You got Chase Bryce out there. You've got Taylor Powell. Taylor Powell has a little more live fire experience. I wouldn't be shocked if they kick the tires on him.
McLeod Bethel Thompson?
No, there's no way in hell they're bringing him in. You're not bringing in 2 40-year-old quarterbacks.
Let Tommy sling it. Tommy Stevens. Give him a.
Oh, I agree. I want to see Tommy throw it. I really do.
Scotty up in Saskatoon says Baseball Stars was the best till you had made the perfect team. Then Nintendo would glitch and erase your team. Just sadness and bad words for an hour. That's why you used Ninja Black Sox. They could take down the American Dreams. They had that one female pitcher that pitched windmill. I always used her. Tony in Regina says, you got to resign AJ Ouellette. Really awesome for the team. Yeah. Do you?
I honestly think we're going to get to the situation where the market is shrinking right now. With Butler re-signing back in BC, the only teams that don't have their starting running back are Hamilton and Saskatchewan right now. I know when the Riders' first offer was nowhere near where AJ wanted it. Sounds like they're slowly working their way to a realignment, but we're going to see.
Okay, we'll go to break here. We'll come back. We're going to hear when we come back from a Saski boy who played in the Olympic Rink last week in the test Test games. That's what we got here with the home of local sports, SportsCage. We'll be right back. Welcome back, SportsCage for Nelson Homes. On Fridays, home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Nelson Homes. Greg from the Piffles podcast is with me and Colson here on this Friday. Thanks for making time. Okay, sprinkle of the day time. I know we just had Eric. It's for Sports Select. QR code now. Do it on your phone. A lot of spot retailer. A lot easier. Or you can fill out the slips. Go to Futures, if you can, please, Colson, if you're watching the stream. SportsCage or SportsSelect.com. One of the futures you can bet on, WWE Royal Rumble.
Oh, now we're talking me.
You're a wrestling guy. You like your wrestling. You can bet on the men's Royal Rumble or the female Royal Rumble. This baffles me for so many reasons. You know that wrestling isn't real, right?
It's still real to me, damn it.
Okay. Speaking of renting videos, the first few WrestleManias, British Bulldogs, let's go. Oh,
With Ozzy, yeah, Ozzy brought him down to the ring that year, didn't he?
no, I'm like talking like 80s, man. Like,
Oh, no, I'm talking, no, like, I'm sure Ozzy.
let's look that up right after this, though. You can bet the future, like SportsSelect.com is so awesome. Where do you start, though, Greg? Royal Rumble, men's winner. I don't, let me see if I know any of these names. You could have played that game with me, Colson. Name of a wrestler, a horse, or a political figure. I don't know anybody. The Rock. That's not Dwayne, is it?
Yeah, is he on this list?
35-1.
He ain't showing. Well, yeah, it's in Saudi Arabia. He might show up.
Really? He still plays. He still wrestles.
Occasionally, he's also on their board, and he's not winning an Oscar this year, so who cares?
Ethan Page.
Yep,
Doesn't
he's a Hamilton
Doesn't
boy.
he work at the credit union on North Rochdale?
He looks like it. Actually, wears glasses.
Okay.
He's a Hamilton boy. He's Canadian.
Really?
Yeah.
Pat McAfee, 175 pays.
He ain't winning. I tell you that much, though. He might show up.
It baffles me that you can bet on this Royal Rumble. And there's a women's.
It's embarrassing because Xavier Woods and have Pat McAfee have the same odds as you do.
How about Roman Reigns? Good name.
I don't think he used to play in the CFL.
What?
That's Joanna Waii.
Really?
Yeah, played for the Edmonton franchise at the time. But yeah.
Wow, we're learning things here. You can bet on it if you're a wrestling fan. Royal Rumble.
I like Sami Zayn. That is my choice right there. Or I don't think Braun Breaker's going to do it.
Sami Zayn.
Canadian boy from Montreal.
Jeez, are these all Canadians?
There's a lot of Canadians. There's a lot of Canadian wrestlers.
Cody Rhodes, is that Dusty's boy?
That's Dusty's kid. Yeah, his youngest. Or not his youngest, I guess. Sorry.
LA Knight, in relation to Jordan or Phil?
That's not his real name.
Oh, Randy Orton, Cowboy Bob.
Bob Orton's kid. Yep, that one's his real name.
Brock Lesnar's on here, Saskatchewan's own.
He Pride of Merrifield. I wouldn't be shocked if he's there. Actually, no. He declared he's going to be there. He is going to be in Saudi Arabia.
I'm trying to look at the last names here to see if there's anybody. Damian Priest. Priest name sound.
No,
that's Maxi Priest. That was a singer. Never mind.
Dominic Mysterio, obviously Rey Mysterio's
Kevin
kid.
Owens.
Also a Montreal boy. You keep on naming all the Canadian kids like you don't watch.
Chris Jericho.
He might show up. He is actually a free agent right now.
How does this work? These guys just show up? Like,
okay,
like it's a pickup game?
So the Royal Rumble was created by Pat Patterson, and it is a battle royal. Except typically in the battle royals, everyone starts in the ring. Last person standing wins. With the Royal Rumble, every minute someone enters the ring. You start with 2 until you get to 30, and the last man standing wins. Or woman standing, because there's a women's battle royal as well.
Unbelievable stuff. Okay, sprinkle of the day, sportselect.com. Make your pick. Go bet. If you bet on this Royal Rumble future, send me a screenshot of it, please, to the Prairie Line Rentals text line 936-6262. Fascinating. I absolutely love it. Okay, we teed this up. Olympics start next week. The women are going to be playing hockey at the arena there. It looks done. There's been an update. I think here, I'll tell you this. The last update yesterday that Chris Johnson had, they got a new score clock. It's actually really nice. So it looks legit. 1 week out from the start of the Milan Olympics women's hockey tournament, there are encouraging reports to come out of how does he say it? Santa Guila? No. Anyway, out of Italy. The arena. Big progress in construction since the test events earlier this month. Logos and other markings now painted on the ice. Italy, France, February 5th. The first of 33 games scheduled in the venue. 33 games.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hockey, but the new score clock looks sick. It's awesome. Benny Walchuk, there it is, if you're watching the stream. Benny Walchuk, our SJHL guru from Yorkton and our Yorkton station, he caught up with former Swan Valley Stampeder, Miami University, Wichita Thunder skater from Gimli, Manitoba, 30-year-old Carter Johnson, who just played in the test games.
Yeah, I got the chance to play over in the Olympic Arena in Milan, which is super cool. It was an experience I'll never forget. It was awesome. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy around it right now. Outside's still very much a construction site. I heard they're bringing in a ton more workers to hopefully finish by the games starting. But yeah, the ice is smaller. Obviously, I'm used to a bigger ice surface over here, but compared to North America, it's still tight in the corners, tight boards. But overall, the atmosphere was great. I loved it. It was really cool to see the fans there. There was actually quite a big turnout for us, and I got the opportunity to answer some cool questions and connect with some people such as Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston, and getting some media attention there was really cool for our team, and also for just the moment in general. We played in the semifinals of the Italian Cup there, and we were able to get the job done and win the championship, which was cool. But overall, the arena was great, pro atmosphere. Jumbotron was up really high, but I heard they're going to adjust that come game time. And overall, I'd say it was a really good experience. Other than the outside not being done, I think the inside's pretty close. So all the controversy can come to rest, and might not be NHL standards, but I'd say it's pretty up there.
Okay. Yeah, you knew they were going to get it done. Now, I really want an update on those dressing rooms.
Oh, yeah, that's... Also, things look like they're done doesn't mean they're done to code. Look at Sochi. Everything looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Until you can put your hand through a wall. And
you're in the construction kind of game, so you'd kind of know some of the ins and outs of all it. And you think the women and then the men, and there is some overlap there. Like, how many rooms do they build? Is it functional? Talking to Darcy Kemper, if you missed that earlier this week on the Wednesday show, he kind of had a kick out of it. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit smaller, but the rink's a rink and they'll be fine. So that was interesting to hear from Carter Johnson. Text line, Prairie Line Rentals text line. Dean's going back to the microwave story. He says he went to university in Regina in 1980, bought a hamburger wrapped in plastic from the Luther College cafeteria, went to heat it up in the microwave. Oh, no. I had no idea how to use a microwave, never used one before, so I put it in for 10 minutes.
In plastic.
It came out smoking the size of a chocolate chip cookie, and the plastic wrap stuck to it. It was unusable. Of course, my last $3 I didn't eat that day. Oh, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing with a microwave, you're in trouble. Keep the text messages coming. I'll try and read as many of you. There's a bunch of satellite ones here, too, I got to get to. It's a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. One signing for the Riders today. They've extended core member of the secondary, DeMarcus Fields. All the details are up at sportscage.com. Hockey tonight. The Pats are in Swift Current to take on the Broncos, 7 p.m. Pre-game show starts here on 620 CKRM at 6:30. Other Saskatchewan team, Moose Jaw, home to the Edmonton Oil Kings. SJHL, Estevan Bruins, Flin Flon Bombers in Estevan. Get there early, get a good spot at that little bar upstairs. 7 p.m. puck drop there. Melfort's in Nipawin to take on the Hawks. Melville welcomes the Battlefords, and Warman's in Humboldt. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Moosomin Steelhawks take on Fort Knox, 8 p.m. in Moosomin. Only one game in the National Hockey League. Chicago is home to the Columbus Blue Jackets. SportsCage.com poll: why hasn't Saskatchewan won a national men's or women's curling championship since 2011? Vote at SportsCage.com. It's for Extreme Hockey and Sport, home of the price match guarantee, where right now 20% off Yeti. If you're in the market for a Yeti, located at the Cooperator Center, the regular store on Halifax Street, and now in Moose Jaw at the Temple Garden Center. They're local, they support local, and like I said, home of the price match guarantee, Extreme Hockey and Sport. What do we got? A minute here? I looked this up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, 1985 was the first ever. I remember renting this on VHS when I rented a VHS 2 with the big silver case. WrestleMania 1. Mm-hmm. Madison Square Garden. And then I started going through the storylines and the preliminary events, and I just all coming back. I don't remember Tito Santana and the Executioner, Buddy Rose. Santana won that match. King Kong Bundy and Special Delivery Jones made their way to the ring after crushing Jones against the turnbuckle.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat, Matt Boone, some of these other names. Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. Led to the ring by Freddie Blassie. Yeah. Took on the U.S. Express, Mike Rotundo. I don't remember him, and Barry Windham.
IRS. That was Mike Rotundo.
Oh, the body slam match for $15,000 between Andre the Giant and
Big John Studd.
Big John Studd. Yeah. Women's Championship.
That was Leilani Kai and Mula. No, who was that?
Wendy Richter.
Yes, Wendy Richter. Yes.
Yep. Fabulous Mula, managed by. Yeah, she was managing. Yeah. And then the main event. See, this was, I remember it now, but I didn't remember it. Was Hulk Hogan, reigning champion, and Mr. T, accompanied by Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Deadly Traps, accompanied by Cowboy Bob Orton. Hold on here, I missed something.
Roddy and Orndorff were accompanied by Orton.
Against Hogan and Mr. T.
And then Snuka was in their corner.
Yeah.
Because that's when Roddy broke the coconut over Jimmy's head, if I remember correctly.
I love it. 13 minutes and 34 seconds. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
Boy.
Who?
Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're learning lots about wrestling here. It's a Sports Cage. You're coming back. Hour number 3. Rachel Homan's going to join us. Also, Farhan Lalji back talking NFL and CFL. It is the Sports Cage. We'll be right back. Fridays, man. For Nelson Holmes. What a wild ride it is. Whoever texted that in earlier, you are correct. Colson's with me. Greg from Piffles Podcast. If you missed any of it, it's in podcast form later. We're going to replay Farhan Lalji coming up. Steph Schmidt joined us, designer of the curling uniforms for Canada's curling teams heading to the Olympics. She's from Regina, so we chatted with her in hour 1. Also, Eric Francis in hour 2. If you know anything about the Eric Francis segments, it's exactly what it was. We'd sprinkle of the day stuff there as well. We still have Rachel Homan. Exclusive interview with Rachel Homan. Did it a couple nights ago, coming up in about 8 minutes' time. We went down a microwave, satellite dishes, renting BMXs, renting of VHSs, and then VHS tapes. And I remember WrestleMania 1. Jeff on the YouTube chat here. I was a big British Bulldogs fan. I don't know why. I just thought they were super cool. Then we went through WrestleMania 1, which the main event was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T defeated Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. Mm-hmm. WrestleMania 2. This is where we see the British Bulldogs.
British Bulldogs led to the ring by Ozzy Osbourne.
I don't remember that at all. Who were they against? Killer Bees?
No, I want to say Hammer. I think it was Greg the Hammer Valentine. I want to say
and Brutus Beefcake.
Yes, with Johnny Valiant bringing them down to the ring.
Oh, that's what Jeff was saying. He watched it on Short Circuit TV.
At the Stampede Corral, yeah.
Stampede Corral. Sorry, Colson. getting into wrestling talk here. I'm losing my place on the camera. British Bulldogs. I had all the wrestlers. I had all the wrestlers, and they sold them, and then they came out with the tag team boxes.
Yeah, the old LGN ones. Had a King Kong Bundy one. You can knock someone out with it.
yeah, you could. I got them all in the suitcase at my mom's. The British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Heart Foundation. That's the name I was thinking of.
Yep.
They were good. Pink pants, pink tights.
Anvil and Hitman, yeah.
And then Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake were a really good tag team.
They're okay.
And then Orndorff and Rowdy hooked up for a bit. What was he?
Demolition?
No, what was the big guy with the suspenders, the cowboy? Hillbilly Jim?
Hillbilly Jim, yeah.
He had a partner for a while there. Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov.
Singing the national anthem.
Yeah. I know, yeah. So what was the main event in WrestleMania 2?
Hogan Bundy.
Yeah.
That was the WrestleMania they did in 3 different places. And that was in LA. There's a Chicago and I want to say Boston or New York. New York.
I got some text. Oh, we gotta mention this. Hey guys, Justin from Florida here. There's a good chance they're gonna have snow flurries down here in Tampa. Crazy, huh? Well, I think it snowed there before, but that is crazy. And then the hockey game is tomorrow?
Yeah. Last time it snowed there was 77.
Okay, well then.
Snow globe game during the hockey game?
He has plans to visit for a Rider home game this year. Which game should I plan to attend?
I'd say the home opener because that's it's against Ottawa, so you know it's a guaranteed win. Plus, it's when they're going to unveil the banner.
I would say Labor Day.
Labor Day's the big one, but good luck getting a ticket.
Well, you can get a ticket. You might have to be creative. Or the game before Labor Day game, Saturday, August 29th. Those would be my 2. Thanks for messaging in. Justin in Florida. Barry from PA, by the way, home of the number 1 rated junior team in Canada. You got that right. Damn Skippy, Barry. I might actually come up to a game at the Elgar Peterson. Read the book Say It to My Face, Angelo Mosca's autobiography, in which he talks about his decade-long experience in wrestling. Quite interesting.
I bet it would be.
Thanks, Barry.
Good old King Kong Mosca.
Good text. A long time ago, I was eating at a place in Chamberlain, and the whole gang from Stampede Wrestling came in for lunch. They were all good buddies. Dan.
Kayfabe wasn't a thing apparently back then.
The what?
Kayfabe.
What's that?
What's a carny term? You got to keep the
oh really
storyline. Yeah. The biggest thing Hacksaw Jim Duggan ever did, the biggest crime he ever committed in WWF, was being caught in a car with the Iron Sheik by the police when they were in a feud against each other. Yeah.
Oh, and that got leaked.
It got leaked.
That was out there.
Yeah, and you got. I think you got fired because of it.
No, that was the end of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Broke kayfabe. He came back eventually, but yeah, he got let go because of it.
There's a bunch of other wrestling ones here. We got to get to some Rider stuff here. We haven't played some of these clips from Jeremy O'Day's media availability today. First off, I asked him because of the Farhan and the Tommy Stevens thing and all that. I said, Jeremy, I said, is it the league's responsibility to develop quarterbacks?
Well, I don't know if the league can tell teams what they're responsible for. I think the teams are allowed to put the roster out there that you want to have out there. So I don't know if it's a league question. I think it's more of a team question. And it's just a matter of how each team wants to set up their quarterbacks, their rotation or order, or for us, I feel like we've got a really good short yardage quarterback that you can actually do more things with. If you look at our league in general, 15, 20 years ago, it was a boring quarterback sneak. Well, now they actually do different things out of it that make it a little bit more exciting than it used to be. As far as developing quarterback, I do get a kick out of that because, when we had, my era, we had great quarterbacks, Hall of Famers that were retiring, and they said, oh my God, we don't have quarterbacks. And then I think last year, or year before, we had one of the best efficiency rating of any year for quarterbacks in the history of the league. And so, a couple years ago, they only allowed 2 quarterbacks on the roster. I don't know what the difference is now with, if you're using a short yardage quarterback, but I think that's the jobs of the teams. And to be quite frankly, if you don't have quarterback that you develop, then you're going to be in tough to hold your job, right? So I wouldn't say that it's the league situation, but I do understand that the strength of our league is pretty critical to quarterback play. But again, we've had discussions whether they need to add a spot on the PR for practice roster for quarterbacks. But, from our standpoint, that's a little more tricky because, it's hard to convince a top tier quarterback to stay on the practice roster.
Thoughts on that, Greg from Piffle's podcast?
That was a really long answer. But he's not wrong.
He's careful with it, but you could tell he's like,
but he's right though. The league can't tell a team how to roster their team. You have your roster based on how you're going to run your team. They like having Tommy Stevens where he is. I think when we talk about this all the time on Piffles, me and Alex especially, we think there's a deficiency in quarterback talent these days. You look at everywhere. There's a ton of quarterbacks, but now the way they're coming through college, they're very system oriented. So unless you got the right guy in the right system, I don't think you got those pure passers anymore. So, and plus they're practicing less. They're less live fire in practice. So yeah, guys aren't developing the way they used to because they're not getting the reps they used to.
We played this one earlier because I know a lot of you about the AJs and especially AJ Allen and CJ Rivas, and he talks about the negotiation status with those two.
Nothing to report on either one of those guys right now. Again, as I said before, we'd love to have all the team back. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make decisions on who we can bring back, who we can offer, and who we can't. And it's no fault of the team or the players. Sometimes players understand their window to play football is limited, so they want to get as much money as they can. And there's other players that are more comfortable with staying and in some cases taking a similar contract or less. But that really hasn't happened very much in our negotiations. Most of our guys are looking for increased salaries, which I understand. We had a successful year, and they want to capitalize on that as well.
I read into that one, and there's another clip that he kind of mentions it too. Softening the blow. Be prepared, people. AJ Allen.
That one's big for me, but he's going to get paid. He's a very good talent, and he's got the right passport. CJ Rivas made it very clear early into the process that he was looking to get paid because he was trying to figure out how much other guys in his position would make. And with the Riders going back to obviously going Canadian safety, and they already have CJ Rivas's linebacker replacement in-house, it makes sense they're moving on from him too.
Number 4, Coulson, anxiety or other emotions when players go to see what's out there.
I think you got to be prepared for that, Dave, when you go into it, understanding that, you might not even have another conversation with them. Just because you don't know, it is challenging when you're, essentially what you're doing as a team is you're putting your opinion of the player, and it's being reflective on the offer that you're giving them. And so sometimes, that's tough to hear. I'm sure my opinion of myself was much higher than some other players or some other, GMs. And, so there can be situations where there are hard feelings. It's also, it's difficult when you have so many guys that are free agents even just keeping communication open. And sometimes they feel like, the team doesn't want them back. And the reality is they probably do, but there's, an order you have to go through. And, some of the situations have to be resolved before you can have those discussions with other players as well. So, it can be a little bit of a challenge, but, once they go into the window, Dave, it's, anything could happen, and, other teams can talk to them. And again, they may have a different value for the player than you do, but I mean, that's pro football. That's what we're dealing with. So yeah, you got to understand that once you get into that, there's a chance that the other teams are going to recruit them and probably tell them everything they want to hear, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but they're recruiting them. They're trying to get them to sign on the team, so they're gonna tell them what they need to.
He's not wrong.
No.
Chris Jones was notorious for signing everyone he could, and then when he got him into camp, he tried to renegotiate them. I'm pretty sure Sean Lemon didn't expect his second time as a rider to be one game, because
that's a good point.
Chris Jones wanted him to drop back in pass coverage.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. Other teams out there, guys that are free agents, that Jeremy O'Day and his crew might be talking to here once the window opens. Who's out there that kind of raises your curiosity? I
don't know if Alex put it up. We all picked 5 players, so pifflespodcast.com. But James Letcher Jr. is on my radar right now. I don't think Mario Alford's coming back. We need a kick returner. And James Letcher Jr. Was a little dinged up last year, only played 9 games, but was still fifth or sixth in total return yards, only playing half the season. Year before, he was second. And he can play. And he plays offense. He has, unlike Alford, he could actually be a receiver in this offense.
Are you more concerned where we sit right now, defensive line or offensive line?
Offensive line, I'm not worried about. Defensive line, 100% I'm worried about. There's a lot of young guys, a lot of potential. They need some leadership on that line. They need to find a vet. And to be honest, there's not that many defensive linemen that are hitting the market this year.
I thought for sure they were going to Mike Rose was going to work there, but now I'm
like I said, if a guy hits a window, there's no guarantee he's not coming back. He may hit the window and see what his value is and come back to the Riders, and just the Riders just got to sweeten the pot. That's all.
Or the Riders know that they got him.
Exactly. That's it.
No. We know what's up here. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Still, Rachel Homan coming up. CFL, NFL talk with Farhan Lalji. It's a SportsCage. We'll be right back. Riders news. One signing today. The extended core member of the secondary, DeMarcus Fields. Regina Pats, Swift Current Broncos, 7 o'clock tonight in Swifty, right here on 620 CKRM, starting at 6:30. Other Saskatchewan team, Moose Jaw, home to the Edmonton Oil Kings. SJ, Melville's home to the Battlefords. Melford traveling to Nipawin. Warren in Humboldt, and Flin Flon and Estevan. A good one, 7 p.m. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Moosomin plays host to Fort Knox, 8 p.m. in Moosomin. Only one game in the show. It's Columbus Blue Jackets at Chicago Blackhawks, 7:30 p.m. It's for Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Regina Steelcraft Doors. I got to mention, before we get to Rachel Homan, tomorrow, January 31st, Team Getzlaff, Team Lother, Merlis Belcher Place. If you have nothing to do, drive it to Saskatoon and watch it. Are you going to that?
No, I don't think I'll be making it for that.
Another thing tomorrow, at the U of R Gymnasium, Huskies and University of Regina Cougars. Cougars lost in Saskatoon last night, so the rematch tomorrow, women's basketball.
A little home and home. She's going to get a little chippy.
Two of the best. Yeah, elbow. Oof. Two of the best in the country tomorrow at the U of R gym. Pats are back in action at home tomorrow as well. Okay. Let's fortunate enough to talk to her a few weeks ago. Colson, play it. It's hard to believe the Olympics are starting next week for most of us. Canada curling hand in hand We'll be right in there. We'll be cheering for the mixed doubles, the men, and of course the women, skipped by Rachel Homan, who has elevated herself to one of the best ever when it comes to women curlers from Canada. Here's my interview a couple of evenings ago with Canadian skip Rachel Homan. How do you prepare, right? Like, you play in the slam, and now you got a few weeks here before the Olympics. Like, is there a lot of practicing? You're saying you're probably working out or getting treatments and all that. Like, how do you prepare for the Olympics as a curler?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's no different than we're doing all year, right? The slams, we're playing the top teams in the world, and our national championships, or the trials that we just played in November, those are all high pressure, high stakes events where, you want to do as best you can for, your family that's supporting you, being away for so many weeks of the year. And whether it's, a major slam, or whether, you're going to the trials and you've spent 4 years pouring into this. I think our team's done a really good job of sticking with every tournament and trying to give it our all for each one. And so, this one is different, but also a little, not much different than the training, other than, between nationals and worlds the last couple of years, you only have maybe a 2-week turnaround. And this time we had a bigger chunk of time to, have 2 tournaments before we play the Olympics, which has been nice because, you win the trials and there's a big high, and then obviously you got to come down from that. So a bit of a low of, crashing from emotions, and a bit of exhaustion from the stress that you put yourself through. But yeah, so I think, we got to face some adversity after playing the trials, and, not winning as easily as we had been. And I think that's a good wake up call, and a good reset. And, you learn so much more from some losses than you would just winning through. So it's been good preparation heading into the games, and just had a training camp this past week. The girls just flew home, and just a few last weeks before we head off February 3rd.
What makes a curling team so good? Like, in other sports and hockey, which you're familiar with, you got the physical guy, the role player, the skill guy. In football, it's like, do your job and all that. On a curling team, which, you've been with your whole life and you've been doing the sport, what makes a curling team so good?
I think, same thing, like everyone has their role, and when everyone, is contributing in a meaningful way at their position, then, I think that leads to success. And I think, buy-in of everybody wanting to be in the position that they're in. I think that's important. And I think everybody, needs to be on the same page with their goals and what they want to accomplish in the sport. And I think when you've 4 people pull in the same direction, a lot of good things happen.
What is there, like, one thing, like one big piece of experience that you pull from 2018 on the women's side, or 2022 on the mixed double side?
I think just the preparation piece, and I think every team is so different, and this team, we prepare like, we haven't in the past, and everyone's older, everyone's more experienced. Going into your first games, you really don't know what to expect. And then for mixed doubles in COVID, that was, a whole other animal to take on with very little preparation time because of, ice being shut down for years, and just so many unknowns and testing. And I think that was a tricky one to, you just didn't have enough time to prepare. Everyone was isolating. You couldn't go anywhere. So I think this time we can prepare the way we want to, and feel a lot more confident in getting the games. And, you can only prepare so much, and it's sport, anything can happen. So I think keeping that mindset of, if we don't win, we're, that's a very real possibility. And, but I think, at this point we can go in just knowing that there's nothing more we could have done. There's nothing more we could have prepared for. We're ready. So it's, at this point it's up to up to as much as we can put our best foot forward, and we know and we're confident in our ability and the team that we're putting forward that it's going to be our best shot.
Is that mental game or the mental aspect of curling, like pressure situations? Like, do you do anything different? Like the football kickers, and I've talked to that do like box breathing, and golfers, they're blowing in their fingers before they hit a big shot and all that. Does a curler do anything to kind of calm the nerves, maybe?
Yeah, I think just awareness of your heart rate and yeah, just trying to recalibrate for that. I think every athlete kind of goes through that, and just understanding, your emotions and being aware of them, I think is paramount in the sport.
Are you looking forward to taking in any other sports in Italy?
I haven't really thought about it. It's just been a lot of scheduling these last few weeks, getting ready and figuring out what we need to do. And then, we're going there early, so I think we can figure that out when we get there. It's going to be a little bit tougher this time around just because we don't move into the village until the 9th. And then, our schedule, it's a long one.
Yeah.
Compared
Could
to
be fluid. Could be fluid then.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out as we go. Like if there's opportunity, like I love going to watch other sports. But at the same time, we have a job to do. I'm excited to go. I want to do my absolute best. So, anything I can that's gonna make me better for the next game, like that's what I'm gonna do and focus on. And there's TVs that we can watch the streams and stuff, if the rest is what we need. So we'll be cheering hard, whether it's in front of the TV, if we get the opportunity to go and watch, and it makes sense for us, like that'd be unreal. I've got to see, Scott and Tessa win gold at their skate in 2018. That was unbelievable to watch live, and just some cool moments in sport that we've been able to witness being at these games. But yeah, I don't know. Haven't quite looked that far yet, but it'll be cool to get to. Yeah.
Is the athlete village a must? Like, do you have to do it, and do you want to do it, or like, is there ever an option of maybe like staying off site or anything?
There isn't an option.
No.
For us, no. Or I don't think anyone in the mountain village, because we're not in the main village.
When do you fall in love with curling?
When do you fall in love with
When do you, like, what age? Like, how old were you when you fall in love with the game of curling?
I don't know. I think I'm just a competitive person, so I just love to compete. It's a neat sport where, there's no other sport that kind of makes you as frustrated or as like unbelievably happy to win. Just because there's so many moving pieces and so many parts of curling. There's like the physical sweeping part, and then there's the tactical part, and there's fine motor skills, and then like explosive like leg drives for big weight shots. There's just like a lot of different parts to the game. So it just feels like it's never ending, and the strategy, it's like football, like it's just never ending. Like the
strategy and X's and O's almost, and yeah.
So I love strategy games. I love that part of it. And diving into, there's the playbook, and then there's gut feeling, and there's lots of nuances of the game that are frustrating and fun and making it different. And it's a cool sport to dive in and learn about. And
it's an absolute challenge. People that have never played it, right? It's like you could play whatever sport and be good at whatever sport. And in curling, it's like such a different ball of wax. So it's like, it's pretty cool that you talk about all those things. My last one is the international curling game compared to what you play. Like, I know I was watching and I saw on social media, you called out the Japanese team, I think, on sweeping, and then there's umpires at the international game. What are the big differences from going to curl international, like at the Olympics, compared to, maybe let's say a Scotties or a Slam?
Yeah, like the officials are there to help with like rulings and stuff. Yeah, sweeping's a tough one because they're, putting in new rules and people are trying different sweeping techniques. And, when I said something, I just don't think that she knew. Because I had mentioned it to their coach, like you have to sweep like a piece of the running. Like if you're not sweeping the rock, then all you're doing is moving something in front of the rock. So I was just like, you just have to sweep the rock, like any part of the rock, right? And then once I said it, she never did it again. So she knew what I was talking about. And it didn't even have anything to do with the new rule at all. It was just, and honestly, sometimes sweepers sweep and they don't know that they're not even in front of the rock. So it could have been that. But as soon as I said it, she never did it again. So, it was, I feel like people tried to make it something that it wasn't. It was just, you just have to make sure that your broom is covering some part of the running band of the rock. And then that was it. But yeah, just there's the rules are like a bit gray. So then it's just helpful to have officials there to make a ruling to make sure everyone's, within the parameters of sweeping and the spirit of the game of like sweeping. You just can't put stuff in front of the rock. Slow it down is really, really the only thing in the rules that you can't do.
Cool. Thanks for doing this and jumping on. I know you're busy. I know you got a million of them. Really appreciate it. Good luck. And obviously everyone's rooting for you when you get over there.
Yeah. We can't wait to go. We're excited and we feel the support and we can't wait to put on those jerseys and get on the ice.
First game for the women, Thursday, February 12th against Denmark at the Olympics, starting next weekend. Hope you enjoyed that one. You can go back and listen to a podcast form, of course, as always, here on the Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel. We're always on 620 CKRM.